What's going on, all my wrestlers out there? This is the Wrestling Files. I'm Mighty Q, and today I'm getting into a very important topic that's a bit taboo with something that's going on with wrestling, and it's been in the sport for way too long, and I think it needs to be out of it. So, before we get into anything, I want to say huge thank you to you guys, because you guys, without you, honestly, there's no reason for me to do what I'm doing. I'm trying to do this because I want to help you guys as much as possible. I'm already past my wrestling days. I'm past that. I'll say it all the time. I wrestled for 14 years. I've been in the wrestling community now for 20, and I'm just going to try to help you guys be as good as you possibly can be. But today, I want to talk about something that I think wrestling needs to get over and get past, and that is cutting weight. I think it's so stupid. It's something that I did, and it was something that was stupid that I did, and I think that nobody should follow my footsteps. Nobody should be cutting weight. Nobody should be trying to do that, because it is something that can ruin your life, and it can kill you. So if a coach is trying to tell you that you should be cutting weight, don't do it if you don't want to. I think the most that you can cut in a week is like 8 pounds. I think 5 pounds is a reasonable number. That's like okay, because realistically, in high school, you know, you start Monday and you have to weigh in Thursday night. So in terms of, you know, how much you really have to lose, we're talking 2 pounds a day. And that's if you're losing 8 pounds. That's a lot. 5 pounds is a lot more realistic. And it's just tough because you start Monday and, you know, you start cutting weight and you get to Thursday, and for duels, you weigh in at like, I don't know, like 6 o'clock, and you normally wrestle at like 7. Sometimes it was like 5:30 and you wrestled at 7, but normally you wrestle about 7 o'clock. It's not enough time to get rehydrated. It's not enough time to get nutrition in you. And then more importantly, you have one day that you then go and bust your ass and lose whatever weight that you gained the day before, Friday, to then make weight Saturday morning. And then it's the same thing. You weigh in at like 7, 8 o'clock. You wrestle at 9. It's not enough time. It's super stupid. So trust me, stop cutting weight. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. I'll speak on my experience. My freshman year of high school was probably the dumbest that I was about it. And I wrestled 120 pounds. And most of the time I walked around at like 130, 132. After the January 1st 2-pound allowance, you know, it goes from 120 to 122. I normally was 100% at 130, 132, sometimes 134. So stupid, not smart. I was miserable. I had a terrible attitude. I was an asshole to my coaches, my teachers, my friends, my parents. And it's just not smart to do. And it got to the point where I was literally lying to my mom every time about how much I weighed. You know, she would ask me what I weighed, and like it would be like a Tuesday or something. And she asked how much I weighed, and I'd be like, oh, like 125. And I'd be like 128, 129. Like, I used to lie to her constantly about how much I weighed, because I didn't want her knowing how much weight I was cutting. I didn't want her knowing or stressing over me cutting weight, even though it was a huge deal. Like, I shouldn't have done what I did. I regret a lot of the stuff that I did, because cutting weight is not good. It doesn't make you a better wrestler. It doesn't help anything. A lot of people, you know, will try to make the inference of like MMA fighters and how they lose like, you know, 15, 20 pounds for a fight. And it's like, yes, but they do it over a 3-4 month period. We do it over 3-4 days. So completely different. And wrestlers, trust me, just stop cutting weight. You would be a lot healthier, and being hydrated is super important, because that's all you're really doing. You're dehydrating your body, and more importantly, because you're never really replenishing enough fluids, what you end up doing is you dehydrate your organs, you dehydrate your brain. It makes you not as efficient, makes you not as good as you can be. And when it really comes down to it, it's like the guys that you think are so much stronger than you at the next weight class, they're not. They're not drastically stronger than you. They're not drastically better than you. They're not anything different than you. All they do is they weigh a few pounds more, and you weigh the same as those guys do. And I get it. Well, those guys are cutting weight too. Well, guess what? If everybody stopped cutting weight and everybody just wrestled what they weighed, you would have a lot big of a difference go on in the sport. I think you'd have a lot more people that actually wrestled. I think the sport would actually see an increase in growth for people to stop cutting weight. And I think the best way to do it is if you completely took weight classes out of it, and if you looked at, you know, like the lower weight classes, because you inevitably will have a handful of guys that'll be closer in weight just because you can have more of them. But 3 to 4 pounds, you can group those people together. 3, 4 pounds makes no difference. It's basically, you can't tell. You can wrestle a guy who weighs 120 and a guy who weighs 123. You're not really going to notice very much of a difference in a match. That's, for duels, for tournaments, all this stuff, it would make it a lot easier to do it that way, because this whole notion that, you need to be cutting 10, 12 pounds every week is super stupid. It's gotten people killed before in the past. There's a lot of people that are super unhealthy now with it. There are people that have wrecked the rest of their life because they wanted to decide to go and do these things, when they were 10, 12, 14, 15, 17 years old, when, they didn't think about how that's going to affect them when they're 35. And there's certain conditions and there's certain things that go on. And so I will say it as many times as possible. Don't be miserable. Cutting weight is stupid. If you want to lose a handful of weight, to make, if you're in between 2 weight classes, well, if it's like 5 pounds, that's fine. Like 5 pounds is okay. Wrestling is a very intensive cardiovascular sport. You are inevitably going to sweat a lot. You are inevitably going to lose weight. That is a thing. When you're in your summer weight, you're automatically probably going to lose 10, 12, 15 pounds once you practice wrestling for like a month. After about the first month of wrestling practice, you pretty much plateau. That's about the weight that you walk around at. That's what we call walk around weight. That's about your normal weight after you've been pretty intensively working out and back in decent wrestling shape. Just wrestle that weight. Eat what you want to eat to a degree. Like, still be healthy. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, go and eat McDonald's every day, because like that's just stupid. But eat the right things. Eat your chicken, eat your rice, eat your fruits and vegetables. Like, make sure you're drinking enough water. Make sure you drinking liquid IV, Gatorade to a degree. Like, that's more important than, I'm gonna have a bottle of water this week and that's gonna be it. Like, that is so stupid. There's so many ways that guys cut, and it's so dumb. It's terrible for your body. It's terrible for your mind. It's terrible for your long-term health. Like, there's really no upside when it comes down to it, because it's like, if I had the chance to go back, like, I would wrestle 126 pounds and I would have been cutting, 2, 3, 4 pounds every week. I would have been a lot happier. I would have been much healthier. I would have been in a lot better spirits and a lot better attitudes. But, when you're cutting the amount of weight that I was cutting and you're not eating very much and you're not hydrating yourself, your body is going to go through these natural cycles where you're not going to be in a good place. It's not good for your mental, people want to talk about mental health. Cutting weight is terrible for your mental health. If you want to be miserable, go ahead and cut a bunch of weight. Because trust me, you're going to be miserable. No one's going to want to talk to you. You're not going to have any friends. Your parents aren't going to be happy with you. Your coaches aren't going to be happy with you. Your teachers aren't going to be happy with you. And who likes that? Who likes being completely alone in a time when you're absolutely miserable? So guess what? Cut out the thing that's making you that way. It's not making you tougher. It's not making you anything else. Wrestling is already a hard-ass sport. You don't need to go and add cutting 10, 12 pounds in 4 days on top of it. It's not good for you. It's not making you any better. If you lost 5 pounds and wrestled the next weight class higher, I guarantee you would be the same level of wrestler that you would be if you wrestled a lower weight class. I know it, and I'm stupid. I made my mistake, and the minute I stopped wrestling, I realized the stupid errors of my ways. I realized how dumb it is. And again, guys who want to make the comparison to MMA fighters, those guys have 3 to 4 months to lose the weight. They can lose 1 pound to 2 pounds in a week. We're talking about 3 to 4 days to lose 10, 12 pounds. It's not smart. It's not the right way to do things. You have duels on Thursdays, tournament on Saturday. You start losing weight Monday morning. You stop Thursday afternoon for weigh-ins and the duel. You rehydrate yourself somewhat after the match. You then go and cut a bunch of weight all day Friday. You then wake up. Some people go and run before and cut a bunch of weight before tournaments, absolutely exhausting themselves to step on the scale. And they're already exhausted. They're already spent. They step on the scale. They make the weight. They're like, oh, yay, I made the weight. But they're absolutely beat. They're drained. There's no way to get enough fluids in you. There's no way to get the right nutrients back in you. And now you have to go wrestle all day. You're not going to wrestle any better than you would because, again, having to lose weight in a 3-4 day period is not enough time to be doing this. That's where I said 5 pounds is a good number. 8 pounds max, absolute max, because even 2 pounds a day is a lot. It's just not smart. And for any of you out there that are, on the fence, should I cut weight? Should I not cut weight? Trust me, don't cut weight. You will be a lot happier. You will like the sport a lot more. It is something that is really tough. I don't think it makes you mentally stronger. It doesn't make you physically stronger. The only thing it does is it tears you down. It makes the people closest to you not like you. It just causes a lot more problems than the benefit, and I don't even see the benefit of it, because at the end of the day, if I would have wrestled 126, I still get to wrestle. Like, the only thing that wrestling at 120 does is it goes, okay, I wrestled at 120. Like, there's no benefit. I could have wrestled at 126 and been basically the same wrestler. It was absolutely stupid. I hate the fact that I did it, and especially for as long as I did it. I mean, I was cutting weight to a degree where, I remember I was in 7th grade. Maybe I was in 6th grade. Yeah, I was in 6th grade. I was cutting like 7 pounds, about 5 to 7 pounds, depending on the week. And it all depended on what happened and what I ate after the tournament, and then what I ate Sunday. Because essentially, like I said, you start Monday morning. That's when you start cutting weight. You cut weight all the way up until Thursday. And so for me, as before I got to high school, you start Monday, you eat, and you start dieting. You start doing all your different workouts and all the other stuff that's going on. And then, at least for us, when you're a kid and, before you get to high school, at least you get to weigh in Friday night. Weighing in Friday night was great because, you go home, you have dinner, you hydrate yourself, you wake up, you get a meal. Like, you feel so much better wrestling Saturday. And that's not the case in high school. You weigh in an hour before you wrestle. And you know what? Weighing in an hour before you wrestle, after you just cut a bunch of weight, doesn't make you ready to wrestle. Doesn't give you the needed nutrients, doesn't give you the needed hydration, and you're going to wrestle a lot worse. So take it from me. Don't be the same idiot and make the same mistakes that I did. Learn from my mistakes, make it better, and that's what's going to help you be a better wrestler. Don't cut the amount of weight that I did. It is stupid to cut that much weight. It is no benefit to you. It's no benefit to anybody around you. You're still going to get to wrestle if you decide to wrestle at a weight class that's the next one up or 2 higher. It's dumb to cut weight. The sport should get rid of it. I hate the fact that it's in the sport. I hate the fact that it's ingrained into the sport. I hate the fact that you have coaches out there that will force guys to cut weight. If you're one of those guys that a coach is forcing you to cut weight, don't do it. Don't cut the weight. If he's saying you have to do this, no, you don't. And if a coach has a problem with that, you can tell him to give me a call. You can tell him to send me an email. I'll have a very nicely worded conversation with him about it. I think that's the dumbest thing that you can do for anybody. Do not force any guy to cut weight. If a coach ever tries to force you to cut weight, you can tell him to come see me about it, because I'm not going to let it fly. Today is the day that wrestling starts to change, where we start to remove guys literally killing themselves and hindering their bodies for the rest of their life with cutting weight. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm past it. It needs to be out of the sport. There's a lot better ways that we can do this. But again, trying to lose 10, 12, 15 pounds in a 3-4 day period is stupid. There's no benefit. It's not making you any better. I made the mistake of doing it. I was miserable the entire time. There's no benefit. I'm glad that God gave me the grace to not have any long-term side effects that I know of. I just know that I was an absolute miserable person throughout the entire time that I was doing it. There was no benefit. And for you guys, please, please, please don't do it. You don't have 24 hours to weigh in before. You don't have 3 months to lose that amount of weight. You have 3 to 4 days. Be healthy. Eat real foods. Eat chicken. Eat steak. Have some starch. Potatoes, rice is good for you. Have some broccoli, have some cauliflower, have a vegetable with it. When we're talking about, eating normal foods, yes, have a chicken breast, have some mashed potatoes, have some broccoli. That's a phenomenal meal for you. Have some water with it. Drink a lot of water. Be hydrated. Don't do this whole notion that you need to lose a bunch of weight. Your body is going to like you a lot more if you eat the right things and you drink the right fluids, and you're just essentially a lot happier of an individual. But this whole notion that we need to cut weight, and coaches have it ingrained in them or it's like, well, I cut weight, so my guys are going to cut weight. I'm done. Today's the last day that guys are going to continue the notion. I'm done with it. I'm going on the offense of attacking cutting weight, because I think is the dumbest thing for the sport. I think it's the dumbest thing for kids. I think it's the dumbest thing for people that are going through puberty and trying to grow. I think it's an absolute idiotic thing that we do as wrestlers. We're done. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. Please, please, please stop doing it. It is much beneficial. You have a lot longer life to live. You do not want to cut yourself short in the early stages of your life because you wanted to lose 12 pounds in a week. So you went and saran wrapped yourself and put a trash bag on and threw on a long sleeve shirt and a sweatshirt, and you went and sat in a sauna for an hour and you passed out and you ruin your organs and you ruin your brain and you do all these crazy stuff to your body, and you can die from cutting weight. So please stop doing it. You're not an MMA fighter. You don't have 24 hours before. You don't have 3 months to lose the weight. You have 3 to 4 days. So stop doing it. Be healthy, be happy, be hydrated. And that's the message. Thank you guys. Again, don't cut weight. Don't cut weight. Don't cut weight. But thank you for the support. Thank you for tuning into these videos. Thank you for the follows on TikTok. Thank you for subscribing on YouTube. But as always, like the video, comment, share. Get the bell on so that way you never miss a video. Most of the times they're going to be posted, about this time of the day. But do that thing. So here on YouTube, so get the bell on, like the video, comment below if you like it, share it with your friends, send it to your teammates, and then we'll kind of keep going from there. But for the Wrestling Files, that's all I got for you today. Mighty Q, I'm out.